Pursuant to Internal Revenue Service guidance, be advised that any federal tax advice contained in this program is not intended to be used, and it cannot be used by any person or entity for the purpose of avoiding any tax penalties that may be imposed by the Internal Revenue Service or any other U.S. federal taxing authority or agency, or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any transaction or matter addressed in this show. The opinions expressed by the host and the guests are their own and may not be used as authoritative advice. Any use of this material without the written consent of the host is strictly prohibited.
Welcome back. I am your host, Attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Beautiful.
So
now,
I got a little deeper that time. The Answer.
I got to go deeper, higher. I'll figure it out. We're going to get it really harmonized.
I thought it was good anyway, Jim.
I still think it's pretty good. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The next segment we have is the wonderful segment of...
And now, here's that man with a head just crammed full of knowledge, Mr. Know-It-All.
Chicago, it's the Mr. Know-It-All segment, and this week we have a wonderful letter from Jacob McCandles in McCandles, Texas, and he wrote...
I thought you was dead.
Not hardly. He wrote the letter, question, saying, I received a summons some time ago. I didn't do anything about it. What happens next, partner?
I love that. That's one of my favorite shows. Big Jake.
Jake
named my oldest boy Jake because of that show. Love that movie, I should say. So, good question, Jacob McCandles. If you were in Illinois, this is what would happen. Okay, a summons is what happens when they serve you a complaint, and a complaint is a list of allegations that, if all true, entitle the other party to relief through the court system. So this happens when you get sued. So, for instance, I have a credit card and I haven't paid it for some time, and they go to court and they file a complaint against me because they want to sue me. And they get part of when you file the complaint, you issue a summons. And the summons is what tells you what's going on and how many days you have. Generally, when you get a summons, it tells you that you have 30 days from the date you receive the summons to do something, file an answer, file an appearance. Remember, we talked a lot about this with foreclosures because it's the same thing, whether it's a foreclosure or whether it's whether it's a credit card suing me for not paying my credit card debt. So what happens, again, if I don't do anything, what will happen, and again, the summons tells me I have 30 days to do something. If I don't do anything, then generally what will happen next is the plaintiff, in this case the credit card company, will bring an action in court, a motion, I should say, that says, Judge, they should be held in default. They haven't filed what you ordered them to according to the summons, and so we win by default. So I always liken it to a chess match. Okay, so they make the first move. They file this complaint against you.
Rook to B7.
That's right. That's exactly. And now it's your move, but you don't do anything. And the timer's going. A lot of those chess games have the timer. The timer's going, and you don't make your move in the timer. So now the person who made the first move, they win by default. So that's what happens in court, is they'll go and they'll bring a motion for default, and the judge will say, did you serve him correctly? And they'll prove that they got you served, that someone came out to your house.
You got served.
That's right. You got mail. And if they could prove it, and they prove this by affidavits and things like that from the special prosecutor or from the sheriff, because sometimes a sheriff will come out and give you a copy of the summons, or again
that's bold talk from a one-eyed fat man.
You're cracking me up. I love that. But that's a different movie, Jim.
I know.
That's true.
Well, we're gonna keep going.
That's true. I guess the John Wayne.
The John Wayne theme
is okay. Okay. So now I forgot where I was.
I know. I'm so sorry. I believe you were talking about the sheriff. You mentioned the sheriff.
That's right. The sheriff could come out or the special prosecutor, which is not the sheriff. It's somebody that they hire to come out to your house. And can
they hire me to do it?
No, because you have to be licensed in the state of Illinois, and they can send them out to get it. Generally, the sheriff is going to come between 8 and 5. Just the time when you're not home. And so then the sheriff won't be able to get you. So then they'll hire a special prosecutor, and the and they'll come out, process server, I should say, and the process server will get you a copy. So they'll hand you a copy of the complaint, and then they file an affidavit that says to the judge, hey, judge, I got them served. They should have been here, and they didn't. And because you didn't, there'll be a default judgment. And then after they get a default judgment, then now that judgment will allow them to start collecting on, because now they win. So if they allege that you owed them...
We don't ever want them to win.
That's right. So if the complaint alleged that you owed them $15,000 and you think, well, I only owed them $7,000, it doesn't matter. Now you owe them $15,000 because you didn't go to court and object. So now everything they said in the complaint is deemed true. And if it's deemed true, then they're entitled to whatever they ask for. And that's why it's generally not a good idea to let this go to default, because even if you get involved, even if you really do owe them money, you should make sure that that the judgment they get is accurate, because sometimes it's not accurate, and oftentimes they can make allegations that just aren't true, and you won't have a forum to object to them. So I have people come to see me after a judgment center and say, "Wait a minute, this is false, this is wrong. Well, what do I do now?" Well, the answer is not too much, because if you go to a judge and say, "Hey, judge, this is wrong," they'll say, "Hey, you had an opportunity. You blew it. You should have come in and done something about it, and you didn't. And because you didn't, you lose. And so we're not going to." So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob, for writing that wonderful letter, partner.
That's good. So now next week we might talk about what a judgment is, if we can find someone to ask us that question, or maybe I'll write a post about it, a blog post about it, because this was a great question. And if you have a judgment or been issued a summons, then you should give us a call at 312-664-6649. Visit us on the web at ChicagoTaxTeam.com.
See you on the other side.